In the quiet stretch of the helium-drifting expanse of space where starlight moves slowly, as if caught in cosmic amber, floated the remote scientific outpost known as Vesper Station. It was a slender ring of alloy and mirrored panels, orbiting a pale blue dwarf star whose glow shimmered like a lantern lost in fog. The station's purpose was simple: to listen, to monitor gravitational murmurs, particle drift, and electromagnetic pulses that the wider galaxy had no time to notice for nearly a decade. Vesper Station had heard nothing unusual. Then, one rotation ago, it detected something that should have been impossible, a signal, not just any signal, a patterned one. A harmonic pulse so precise, so mathematically elegant, that the station's sensors flagged it as potentially artificial within minutes. The crew didn't panic. They didn't celebrate. They simply went quiet, because the universe was full of noise, but intentional noise. That was rare, very rare, a new kind of quiet. The vessel, Luminant Horizon, a long-range exploration craft, arrived hours later. Its hull glided past the star's faint corona, reflecting pale ribbons of light as it approached Vesper's docking ring. From a distance, the ship looked like a silver feather drifting through the dark on board. The crew prepared for entry. They were not soldiers nor adventurers, but specialists, people who had spent their lives among telescopes, laboratories, and theories that lived halfway between reality and speculation. The lead investigator, Dr. Evel Wren, stood at the primary viewport as the station's silhouette grew. Evel was calm by nature, the kind of person whose thoughts moved in quiet, deliberate lines. His hair carried threads of silver, though he was not old. The work simply aged some people faster. Behind him, systems analyst Terran Sol checked the incoming data stream for the 100th time. Still repeating, Terran murmured, eyes scanning the rhythmic pulse across the console. No distortion. No drift. It's too clean, too deliberate. Evel said nothing at first. Instead, he watched the blue dwarf star shimmer against the station panels. The light flickered, almost imperceptibly, as if responding to the anomaly. Finally he spoke, gentle but firm. No cosmic event produces something this structured. At least not one we've ever catalogued. Turin exhaled. Then we're really dealing with intention. Evel nodded once. It seems so. They exchanged no further words. But something unspoken passed between them, an understanding that if this signal was real and deliberate, then humanity had just stepped into an entirely new chapter of existence. The docking approach as the Luminant Horizon connected with Vesper Station. The metal rang with a soft, hollow resonance. Not harsh, not alarming, just different. Like the station was absorbing the sound rather than echoing it. Upon entering, the crew immediately noticed the atmosphere, sterile, still, and yet faintly buzzing with static. Not dangerous static, just the type that prickled at the edges of perception, making the skin tingle and the air feel slightly warmer. Lighting strips flickered on, one by one, welcoming the newcomers with a diffused glow that stretched along the curved hallway. Navigation Officer Palo Irix, a quiet figure with meticulous habits, glanced up at the lights. Station's power grid is stable, Palo reported. No fluctuations. But the illumination cycle is slightly delayed, as if the station's systems are processing something else at the same time. Something like the anomaly? Turin asked. Evel studied the datapad he carried. It's likely. The signal might be occupying some of the station's processing bandwidths. Let's not jump to conclusions until we check the primary analytics suite. They moved deeper into the station, their footsteps echoing softly along the alloy floor. The air remained calm, comfortable, but charged with the kind of anticipation that made even the quietest noise feel louder. The first observation, the analytics chamber glowed with holoscreens, transparent panels of light displaying streams of data that flowed like liquid symbols. They converged at the center of the room where a spherical projection hovered, a visualization of the signal. It pulsed gently, slow, rhythmic, and strangely beautiful. Evel stepped closer. The pulse shimmered across his face in pale gold and deep cobalt, the colors shifting in a harmony that felt Somehow, intentional.ti aren't single quotes S voice was hushed. It's almost like a heartbeat. Palo shook their head. No biological signature. No biofield interference. But it feels alive. Evel lifted a hand and increased the projection's resolution. The pattern sharpened. Small nodes of energy connected through luminous lines, forming what looked like a geometric lattice changing subtly each time it repeated. It's not just repeating a message, Evel said softly. It's evolving. Turin froze. Signals don't evolve. Not unless they're responding to something, Evel replied. The room fell silent, the pulse echoing softly through the chamber. Almost like it was listening waiting. Then the station lights dimmed for a fraction of a second. Not much, barely a breath, but enough that every member of the crew noticed. Palo checked the readings. Power levels are stable. That was intentional. Intentional by what? Turin asked. No one had an answer. Not yet. Tracing the origin, the crew began isolating the source of the harmonic signal within the station's memory logs. The data showed it had begun only 12 hours ago, originating from deep space, not from the dwarf star, not from the station, but from far beyond the Helian drift, a region known for nothing, absolutely nothing. Evel pointed to a coordinate cluster projected above the table. This is where the signal first appeared. There's no record of objects, vessels, or known phenomena. Turin leaned in. So either something brand new emerged there, or it's something invisible to our sensors. Palo spoke carefully. Could be a cloaked vessel. No, Evel said instantly, not dismissively, but with certainty. No known cloaking technology affects gravitational harmonics. Whatever sent this signal is using methods far beyond anything we've modeled. The projection pulse brightened. As if reacting to their speculation, then another shift occurred, this time, not in the lighting or the station systems, but in the signal itself. The harmonic pattern abruptly changed frequency smoothly. Gracefully, like a musician transitioning to the next movement of a symphony, Turin stepped back. It's adjusting again. Evel watched closely. It's not random. It's following our analysis. It's responding to us. The room seemed to breathe with them, inhaling the moment, expanding the tension. Something intelligent was reaching out. Not aggressively, not fearfully, just curiously. The subtle interference minutes later. A faint tremor ran through the station, not shaking, not concerning, more like a gentle pressure shift. The way gravity feels when a lift starts to move. The crew paused. Palo checked the environmental display. No structural stress, no external impacts. But there was a momentary increase in localized space-time curvature. Turin blinked. Localized? As in right near the station? Yes, Palo confirmed. Right around us. Evel's voice was calm, though his eyes carried a spark of something deeper. Then the source might not be as distant as we believed. Turin frowned. You're suggesting it moved? Evel didn't answer at first. Instead, he lifted the data stream and examined the incoming waveform. The new harmonic structure was more complex, blooming with intricate threads like a fractal unfolding in slow motion. It's here, Evel finally said. Or if not here, close enough to distort the station's immediate space. Turin swallowed. Is something approaching? Palo looked toward the viewport that lined the outer ring of the analytics chamber. There's nothing out there, they whispered. Not even debris. Just the star. And the drift. Yet the tremor pulsed again, barely perceptible, but unmistakably present. The signal's pattern shifted once more, not louder, not faster. But closer, anomaly room axis. The crew decided to move to the station's observation ring, a panoramic deck designed for monitoring stellar activity. As they walked, the lights adjusted subtly, warming into a soft amber glow that bathed the hallway in calm brilliance. The air remained perfectly still, and yet every step seemed to carry a heightened sense of expectation. When they finally reached the observation ring, the view was breathtaking. The blue dwarf star shimmered against a background of velvet black space, its surface calm, its light steady. The Helian drift stretched out like an endless sea of stardust. Nothing looked unusual, nothing appeared to be approaching, but the signal's pulse echoed through the room's speakers soft. Melodic, almost inquisitive, Evil sat at the central console, adjusting the external sensors to maximum sensitivity for a long moment. Nothing changed. Then a single point of light appeared in the drift, small, faint, almost ignorable, but it pulsed, exactly in sync with the anomaly Turin's breath caught. That wasn't there before. Palo's voice was a whisper. It's not a star. Evil leaned forward, eyes narrowing gently. It's something else. The pulsing point brightened for a moment, just a moment like a distant lantern signaling back. Then it faded to a dim, steady glimmer, but it did not disappear. It simply waited. As if inviting discovery. As if acknowledging them. The station systems emitted a soft chime, no alarm. Just a notification. Turin checked the console. The signal changed again. Evil turned toward the glowing point outside the window. So did its source. The cosmic shimmer blinked once. Deliberately, before returning to stillness, Evil's voice dropped to a quiet, wondering whisper. It knows we're watching. The single glimmer outside Vesper Station held its position, small, steady, unwavering in the dark. Nothing about it suggested danger. It did not move closer, did not emit threatening radiation, did not cloak itself in shadow. It simply existed in perfect synchrony with the signal that had captured the crew's attention. Inside the observation ring, the pulse continued through the speakers, echoing softly against metal walls. The room's lights dimmed to a muted glow, as if respectfully lowering themselves in the presence of something extraordinary. Dr. Evil Wren stood before the window, hands clasped behind his back, posture calm but mind racing. Turin Sol and Palo Irix remained close behind, studying the bright point through their instruments. For a long while, no one spoke. The silence wasn't fearful, it was reverent. The universe was whispering, and they wanted to hear every syllable. Finally, Turin's voice broke the stillness. It changed its frequency again. Not randomly. It's matching our sensor rhythm. Palo blinked at the data. It's listening to us. Evil inhaled slowly. No, I think it's mirroring us, adapting, learning. The glimmer outside flickered once. Gently, like a polite acknowledgement, the crew stood motionless. Then Evil whispered the question that had been building since the moment they arrived. Are we the ones being studied? A gentle awakening the station's floor vibrated once more softly, like a distant hum. This time, however, something happened in direct response. The signal's pulse shifted into a new harmonic structure. Its tones deepened, gained clarity, and began forming patterns so complex they bordered on musical composition. Turin leaned over the harmonic translator. The pattern is stabilizing. It's forming a structure. Language? Palo asked. Not in the way we speak it, Turin replied. More like an expression. A shape and sound. Evil adjusted the external imaging array. The glimmer sharpened, revealing intricate layers of light around concentric rings that shimmered in sync with the harmonic signal. It's a construct, Evil said softly. Not a vessel in the traditional sense, more like a luminous architecture. Sentient? Turin asked. Evil watched the delicate light shift and pulse. I believe so. Outside, the construct pulsed again, this time forming 3 beats. Then 2, then 1. Inside the station, the speakers echoed the exact same sequence, perfectly matched. Palo whispered, It's calling to us. Evil shook his head gently. No, it already called. This is answering. The harmonic chamber returning to the analytics chamber, the crew began analyzing the unfolding harmonic lattice. The signal's evolving patterns now resembled a vast interconnected web of light and sound, like a living star map woven into the center of the room. As they watched, the lattice changed again. One segment curved inward, forming a recognizable shape, a sphere. It glowed softly blue and gold. Turin's voice quivered with awe. That's the dwarf star we're orbiting. Another sphere appeared, not glowing, not shaped like a star, just a faint, translucent orb. Palo frowned. Is that supposed to be us? Evil stepped closer. I don't think it's showing locations. It's showing relationships, harmonies, connections. The lattice formed delicate bridges between the two spheres threads of luminescence humming faintly. The signal is linking. The star in the station? Turin realized. Evil nodded. It's demonstrating that it recognizes both our presence and our origin. Another pulse rippled through the data stream. The luminous point outside brightened in unison. It's trying to communicate using structure instead of words, Evil said. A language built on harmony, pattern, and balance. Paolo leaned in. So what is it trying to tell us? Evil's eyes softened as he examined the shifting glow. That we're not alone in listening. The visitor approaches in the observation ring again. The construct outside had grown slightly larger, not through motion, but through unfolding. Its concentric rings expanded gently, like petals opening in slow motion. The glow intensified but remained calming, warm, inviting. It's revealing itself, Turin observed quietly. Evil nodded. Not approaching, just opening. The station's sensors detected no harmful energy. No radiation spikes. No gravitational instability, only a calm, rhythmic presence, for the first time. Paolo ventured a question aloud. What does it want from us? Evil smiled softly. Perhaps nothing. Perhaps everything. Discovery is not always a demand, it might be a gift. The glimmer blinked again. Gentler this time, forming another sequence. 3 pulses. A pause, then a single longer glow. Inside? The speakers echoed the same sequence, completing the exchange. Turin's eyes widened. It's waiting for our response. Paolo whispered. How do we respond to something like that? Evil placed a hand on the console, by acknowledging its presence. He initiated a soft broadcast, no words. No commands, just an echo of the harmonic pattern the visitor had sent, a gentle tone. Filled the station, the construct outside. Brightened instantly, then the harmonic lattice inside the station blossomed into something new, a shape, a form, a single, luminous structure representing a seed. Evil breathed. The pattern was unmistakable, a tiny core surrounded by layers of potential growth. Turin stepped forward. If that's a seed, then this entity might be a nurturer, Evil finished. A gardener of cosmic harmonies. Paolo blinked. It came here because the dwarf star's frequency matched its own. More than that, Evil said. It came because it sensed curiosity. Because we listened. The truth revealed. The construct outside emitted a warm glow that bathed the star and station alike. Inside, the luminous lattice began to weave a story not linear, not chronological, but conceptual. Dot patterns spiraled outward, illustrating cycles of growth, stability, and resonance. The shapes resembled worlds, energy fields, even life depicted not as biological forms but as harmonies of motion and light. This is how it sees existence, Evil murmured. Not as matter or biology, but as frequencies in balance. Turin watched, breathless. It's showing us its purpose. The lattice formed a final image, many small orbs of light drifting gently around a central glow. The orbs pulsed in harmony, never identical, but always complementary. It's a keeper of balance, Evil said quietly. It travels the drift to tune the cosmic harmonies. Not as a ruler, as a caretaker. Paolo tilted their head. So why come here? Why reveal all this to us? Evil gestured to the final pattern forming in the center of the lattice. A third sphere was appearing. Not the star, not the station, but something new, something small and glowing. Its pulse matching the harmonic frequency of the visitor. Turin whispered, Is that a new seed? Evil smiled softly. It's offering knowledge, sharing its understanding, maybe even inviting us to participate in the larger harmony of the universe. The construct outside flashed once more. Gentle as a blink. Then the lattice transformed into a single luminous line symbol. Elegant, calm, a farewell, the departure without moving closer. The construct began to fold back into its original compact form. The concentric rings receded gracefully, the glow softening into a warm point of light. It's leaving. Paolo said, a touch of awe and melancholy in their voice. Evel nodded. It came to make contact. To communicate. And now its part is complete. The glimmer faded, not vanishing abruptly, but dimming like a lantern carried slowly away into the cosmic dark. Finally, it disappeared into the Helian drift, becoming one more secret carried by the stars inside the observation ring. The speakers fell silent, thought the harmonic anomaly had ended, but the station felt changed, lighter, warmer, as if something unseen had passed through and left a quiet, lasting imprint. Turin stepped closer to the window. Do you think it will return? Evel smiled gently. I think whenever we learn to listen in harmony, we'll meet others like it. Maybe even it again. Paolo nodded thoughtfully. So this wasn't a warning. Or a threat. No, Evel said. It was an invitation. A new understanding back in the analytics chamber. The harmonic lattice had collapsed into a final stable pattern, a blueprint of frequencies and relationships. Not instructions, not demands, a gift. Turin downloaded the matrix. This will take decades to understand. Evel's voice softened. Then we're fortunate. We have time. The dwarf star shimmered outside, its quiet glow reflecting across the station panels. Like soft ripples on a pond. The universe felt larger now, not emptier. Just quieter, more connected. Closing the chapter as the luminant horizon prepared to depart Vesper Station. The crew took one last look at the place where the construct had appeared. The stars looked unchanged, peaceful as ever, but the crew was not the same. They had become listeners, participants in a harmony that stretched across the cosmos. Evel set the final report in the ship's log. The anomaly was not a threat, but a message of coexistence, a reminder that curiosity is a universal language. And sometimes, the unknown does not challenge our place in the universe, it expands it. With a soft hum, the ship drifted away from Vesper Station, carrying the memory of a luminous visitor who had spoken not in words, but in harmony.